Hey guys, it's Prediction Friday, and before we get started with this week's game predictions for the game against the Raiders, I got to give a quick few shout-outs because some people came pretty darn close, starting with Tommy Basinger, who predicted a 28-10 Packer victory. Way to go, Tommy. Darn close on that one. Also, we had Will.i.am said 28-17 Packers. That's pretty close, too. Keith Fossbinder, and Stephen Witter said 35-10 Packers. Pretty darn close. I said 35-17. Pretty good on the spread there. Not too bad. Terrence Bryant said 31-13 Packers. It's pretty good. Alex Torres, 24-6 Packers. Lorraine Serta, 27-17 Packers. Chenille said 24-7 Packers. And Patty Joe Wilson said 21-7 Packers. So you guys get a big shout out. Good job. Way to go. Of course, the most important thing was that the Packers won. We all know that. But if you want to get on the show, put a score with your prediction. I just wanted to note that because there's a lot of people that say Packers win, of course. Well, that's not going to count as a prediction. We all want the Packers to win, and you got a 50-50 chance if you pick them. Put a score with it. Get on the show. All right? Also, quickly, I have to remember Babra Abk, and again, I'm not sure if I pronounced that name right, but he said Lacey runs for 100-plus yards. Remember me. Dude, I remembered you. And you remember last week I said the same exact thing. I said Lacey is going to crush it. And if he does, it's me and you, man. Way to go. Good job. Shout out to you. So, how about your predictions for this week's game against the Raiders? Let's see what's coming in. I posted it a little while back, so there's probably going to be quite a few of them. But let's see what we can get. Of course, the Packers play the Raiders. If we win this game, we are in the playoffs. It's as simple as that. Win and you're in. So we definitely have to get this one under our belt really quickly. And let's get started here. All right. We've got Chris. Chris McCoy says 49-42 Packers. Wow. That is a shootout, Chris. Michelle Ryan says 38-10 Green Bay. Rodgers with 3 TDs. Here's Babra Abk again. Packers going to win. Eddie Lacey runs for 100 yards. Okay, so no score there, but again, another 100-yard prediction. So Joe Mado, 31 Packers, 17 Raiders. Carol Barry Dipple, offense is going to hit its stride this week. Pack 30, Raiders 14. 27-7 Packers, says Jamie Lynn Hanks. Jared Dixon, 24-21 Packers. We've got Fuad Omar says 31-24 Packers. Becca Estep Wilson, 28-21 Packers. Lynn Marie, win for sure. Low-scoring defensive game, but no score. Ned Jello says 27-24 Packers in overtime. Cody Stone says 21-17 Packers take it. Joanne Sty Robertson, no prediction. And that's about all we've got time for. So one thing I'm noticing is that a lot of people see this as being a closer game than the Cowboys game was. Personally, this is an incredibly hard game for me to predict. So I'm gonna go into that a little bit. Thank you for your predictions. Keep them coming in. Definitely throw a score with it. And yeah, this is a tough one for me because that was a big win against the Cowboys. We almost broke 30 points, and we did that by running the ball very well, and also and we did that in spite of no scoring in the third quarter. So we still kind of shut down for a period of time there. The window closed a little bit, and we were able to stay with the run, and we were able to maintain a lead. We come off of that big win. We've got to travel out west. We've got an Oakland Raiders team that they know how to believe in themselves, and they now know how to win in the NFL. They've got Charles Woodson on their defense as a veteran, But and a guy that we're all very familiar with, and congrats to him for still doing it at the level he's doing it. The guy's incredible. They call him the Ageless Wonder, and that's probably a pretty apt description. I'm going to, again, I agree, Eddie Lacy I think is going to have in that 80 to 100-yard range. I think maybe Starks may get more carries. I think the play calling, I think Mike McCarthy taking over the play calling was a turning point. Not so much that he calls the game so differently, but he is not going to try and force the ball to Devontae Adams, who may not even be on the field at this point. But what we saw is Randall Cobb as a key cog being used not just for the passing game, but in the run game to set up other runs. We saw the screen game was absolutely brilliant in the Cowboys game. And I think this Raiders team is not going to bite on the screen. They are going to be ready for that. So we're going to have to pound the rock. And I think that the offense, the passing offense opens up. I believe Jared Abbrederis is going to get on the field and make a difference, make a splash this week. I think the Packers are going to break 30. So now I have to put a score to it, don't I? And when I do these, I think I mentioned before, I jump on, I look at your scores, and then I talk and sort of think through mine. So hopefully that's part of the process, a good part of the process. But I don't sit here and I'm not going to do a bunch of stats for you or anything like that. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get in stride. The wide receiver, the short passing game is really going to open up, but it's going to be predicated upon that run. I think the Packers are going to be more consistent scoring. I think the Packers are going to get, let's see, Packers 34. And, a couple field goals, we'll put the 28 in terms of touchdowns, hopefully, and then a couple field goals on top of that. That comes to 34, right? And the Raiders, our defense, I know the Raiders' offense has been good at times. And with Amari Cooper and Crabtree, and that I think I mentioned in the Atrium, which will air tomorrow, that I think the tight end could be a factor against our defense in this. We've got, Randall and Rollin coming in. We've got no Sam Shields. But we will have Micah Hyde, and we will have, hopefully, Morgan Burnett. I think that this defense really knows how to turn it on. I've got this sense that they know how to turn it on. So I'm going to say the Raiders, because they're at home, I'm going to give them 7 on what the Cowboys made, 17 points. That's a 34-17 win by the Packers. And this will be a huge win. It'll be important. It'll give us a nice springboard for the Arizona game, and it puts the Packers in the playoffs, guaranteed. So that's going to be it for me. Again, keep your predictions flowing in. I try to get to as many as I can. I can only get to so many. But before I close, let's see what JR has on his prediction this week.
So we're entering the fourth quarter of the season, and of course that means the season is winding down and the playoffs are starting to gear up. Everybody's kind of starting to make predictions as to who's going to make the playoffs and where the seedings are going to land. The Packers are taking on the Oakland Raiders this week, which is another team that we should beat. We've been down the road this season where we've lost to teams we should beat, but I really I'm pretty confident about this game. The Raiders are not the Raiders of old, so we can't by any means take them for granted. They have Khalil Mack and Charles Woodson on defense, and those are some stout players. They also have some pretty good offensive players. I really don't expect that the Raiders are going to put up more than 17 points against us. However, when the Raiders played the Jets, they put up 34 points against the what is currently the number 5 defense in the league, and the Jets actually have the number 1 run defense in the league, so that concerns me a little bit, but I really don't think it's going to be a problem in this game. I think the Packers are starting to come into their own. They're starting to get some rhythm going, leading into some pretty critical matchups as we enter playoff time. I expect that Aaron Rodgers and company will put up about 27 points against the Raiders. I think Eddie Lacy is going to put up another 100-yard rushing effort. That I think would be impressive too against the Raiders because they have a decent run defense. They're not stellar by any means, but they're a number 12 run defense. So that would be a nice step if we could pull that off, gearing up for the playoffs. I expect that we're going to pull off a 27-17 win, and the Packers will be rolling on their way to meet Arizona.
Okay, so JR thinking a big win for the Packers too. We're on that sort of playoff run. And the team, we'll find out, I think, this week. I think we'll really believe that this team's arrow is now pointing up if the Packers beat the Raiders. And that will give us some real momentum, confidence, and a springboard, like I said, to that what could be an all-important Arizona Cardinals game that may again set us up for another huge, important game, of course, as we know, against the Minnesota Vikings. So enjoy your weekend, folks. Enjoy the game. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every last one of you. I really appreciate you throwing up your predictions. We'll be back again giving shout-outs. Everybody, I think, picked the Packers to win, so we'll be giving the shout-outs to everybody who was right or, pretty dang close, because I hope that I don't care who's right, and I know you guys don't either, as long as it's a Packer win. So we'll catch up with you again next week.